Saskatchewan First Nation placed on lockdown. RCMP issue a dangerous persons alert following a fatal shooting. Olympic aspirations, a Saskatchewan athlete, one of a few recognized nationally. And repatriating indigenous artifacts to Canadian soil.
This is CTV News with Chantel Saunders.
Good evening. We begin tonight with the manhunt in northern Saskatchewan. The dangerous persons alert that was issued earlier today after a deadly shooting on the Big Island Lake Cree Nation was canceled a short time ago. And while RCMP say there is no risk to the public, the suspects have not yet been found. Keenan Sorokon has more on how the day unfolded.
One person is dead and 3 people are injured after a shooting on Big Island Lake Cree Nation.
We don't take safety issues lightly, and we are working as quickly as we can.
RCMP were first alerted at 6 a.m. with a report of a shooting before issuing a dangerous persons alert less than 3 hours later, saying 2 people were last seen on an ATV in the First Nation but could be in the surrounding area. Anyone living on Big Island Lake were told to find a safe location, stay there, and lock all doors.
We don't have indication of how they were dressed. This did occur at nighttime. So we do have to be very cognizant of not rushing the investigation.
St. Germain wasn't divulging many details of the investigation. She says that's because she's not there, and the integrity of the investigation and the subsequent court process needs to be protected. She says the shooting happened outside, but RCMP couldn't say which direction the suspects went. Major crimes investigators from Saskatchewan arrived at Big Island Lake at 2 o'clock, and officers from more than 5 areas of the province are there working to find the suspects. RCMP say it does not have specific details about the person who died, injuries or hospitalizations, or if the shooting was random or targeted.
We don't want to have tunnel vision as we're going into these investigations, and we need to be open-minded about what may or may not have happened.
The province put 7 healthcare facilities in the area on lockdown. Late Tuesday afternoon, RCMP canceled the dangerous persons alert, saying there was no longer an imminent risk to public safety and people could return to normal activities. No arrests have been made and the suspects remain at large, with officers still actively looking to find them. Keenan Sorokon, CTV News, Saskatoon.
The Salvation Army in Prince Albert says it's had an outpouring of support in the form of clothing donations. Since the Salvation Army building was lost to a fire on December 25th, the warming center has been running out of the PAGC Urban Services building. It says anyone who wants to donate clothing should hold off until the warming center moves to a more permanent location in order to make the move more efficient. The Salvation Army is hoping to move this weekend. The city of Prince Albert told CTV that the Union Center downtown is available for the warming center. The Salvation Army says that no location is official until paperwork has been filed, but that the plan for a permanent warming center is in motion. Highway 16 near Delmas has reopened following a serious crash last night. Few details have been released, but what we do know is that roads were very icy at the time. The highway was closed for several hours and detours were in place, with drivers advised to find a different route. A fire at a boarded-up house in the Pleasant Hill neighborhood is under investigation. Firefighters were called to the 100 block of Avenue T South just after 7:30 this morning. They arrived to find the board on the front door had been removed and flames were coming from the front of the home. The fire was brought under control just over an hour later, with crews working at the scene through the morning to fully extinguish the flames. Crews did not find anyone inside the structure and no injuries have been reported. Where and how the fire started is being investigated. RCMP are looking for 3 people after several guns were stolen from a rural property near Maidstone. They've released these photos of 3 masked people considered suspects. RCMP say the group drove into the yard in a pickup truck on Sunday, and when the homeowner came out to talk to them, one got out and pulled out a gun. The suspects then went into the house and stole 20 guns and a crossbow and drove away. They were last seen west on Highway 16 toward Lloydminster. The homeowner was not injured. Anyone with information on this robbery is asked to contact police or Crime Stoppers. An inmate at the Regional Psychiatric Centre has died. The Correctional Service of Canada says Randy Cardinal died yesterday of apparent natural causes. He was serving a life sentence which started March 16th of 2006. The circumstances surrounding his death will be investigated, as all in-custody deaths typically are. Saskatchewan's NDP is calling on the provincial auditor to investigate the circumstances surrounding a deadly carbon monoxide leak in Regina, in an apartment building just before Christmas. Sierra D'Souza Butts has the latest on the ongoing investigation.
11-year-old Henry Losco died December 19th in downtown Regina due to a carbon monoxide leak in his family's apartment building. As an investigation plays out, the opposition says the tragic loss was preventable, asking the government of Saskatchewan to join in the search for answers.
By calling for a review by the provincial auditor, they have the resources and the mandate to look very holistically and systematically at all those potential lines of failure to understand what went wrong.
During the incident, Henry's parents say a carbon monoxide alarm did not go off. The cause of the leak was found to be a piece of service equipment that was being repaired at the time, according to Regina Fire and Protective Services. In a statement to CTV News, the government of Saskatchewan says the Technical Safety Authority of Saskatchewan is actively participating in the investigation along with a number of other agencies. But because the matter is being led by Regina Fire and Protective Services, it cannot provide any updates. Adding, the province will implement any actions to improve safety if the investigation deems it necessary, and that building owners are responsible for compliance with all regulations, codes, and standards that apply to each technology.
We want to ensure that the owners, the building operators, those overseeing both maintenance workers and building operators, that everyone is accountable and doing their job to ensure that they're being protected from something as high risk as a leak from a mechanical system.
CTV News has reached out to the Regina Fire and Protective Services for an update on the investigation, but did not hear back in time for broadcast. Sierra D'Souza Butts, CTV News, Regina.
Well, Jeff, today really felt like spring almost.
It was spring-like in the sense that it's like, okay, in March, it's slushy and messy, and that's what we had today, Chantel. Tomorrow will not feel like March because temperatures are going to be dropping back to below seasonal values in some places. Some places might be close to seasonal, but nonetheless, it will be cold enough to freeze that slush, and things can get really dicey on roadways and sidewalks, so please be careful out there. We're keeping our eye on another system that's sliding into Saskatchewan, bringing with it snow for areas Prince Albert and north, maybe around 5 centimeters of snow, and then a secondary system will show up again tomorrow with not quite as much impact. So an interesting New Year's Eve day is setting up, and we'll talk about that later on.
The new year is bringing new hours at Saskatoon's leisure centres. Starting January 1st, the City of Saskatoon is trimming operating hours at the Cosmos Civic Centre, the Saskatoon Fieldhouse, the Shaw Centre, as well as Lawson and Lakewood Civic Centres. City officials say the reduced hours are part of a cost-saving measure approved during budget deliberations, expected to save about $175,000. The changes run through March 31st. Saskatoon residents can get rid of their Christmas trees while also giving back. Saskatoon Dog Rescue is holding its annual Christmas tree pickup. For a minimum $20 donation, volunteers will pick up trees and take them to be composted. According to one of the organizers, this program comes at a time of year when many rescues are in need of some extra support.
Right now in the dead of winter, obviously we get a lot of requests for puppies and dogs to come in, especially medical cases. A lot of dogs are freezing their paws to the ground. So we have a lot of medical cases come through over the winter. And so it goes towards vet bills, honestly. We're a foster home-based rescue, so we don't have a facility. It doesn't go to overhead costs like that. All of it truly goes towards supporting the dogs.
Anyone looking to have their tree picked up can find the request form on Saskatoon Dog Rescue's social media pages. Meanwhile, the city of Saskatoon is offering residents a chance to get rid of their natural Christmas tree at the landfill. The Material Recovery Centre Sort and Go station is accepting live natural trees to be chipped and composted free of charge to residents. The previous community-based drop-off sites are no longer in use. Trees can only be dropped off at 42 Valley Road. The city asks that all decorations, ornaments, and plastic be removed before dropping off the tree. Small twigs under 60 centimeters long and less than 2 centimeters in diameter can be put in your green bin. A Saskatchewan athlete has been recognized by a national training program as a potential future Winter Olympian. But as Jacob Carr explains, it happens to be in a sport she didn't expect.
14-year-old Ava Darbalay is used to strapping on skis as a member of Team Saskatchewan in biathlon. But this year, she has taken on a new sport, luge.
It's pretty different. The sport's more technical than you would think, so that's been interesting to learn. And it's not as cardio as skiing, which is way different, but it's lots of fun.
Darbalay attended an RBC training ground camp back in May in Regina and was identified as a potential future Olympian in luge. She is one of only 35 Canadian athletes to receive funding through RBC that is designed to put athletes on the fast track to recognizing their Olympic dreams.
Right away, I could see, like with her, that she was picking up the skills really quickly. She was like really working with us. She listened to our feedback. She implemented it. So I could see, like, it was like a first sign that she could definitely be a great fit for our sport.
Despite the newly found commitment to luge in January, Darbalay will take part in the second of 4 week-long training camps in Whistler. That doesn't mean Darbalay has put her first love, biathlon, in the rear view.
I'm still being competitive in biathlon. My provincial coach has definitely encouraged me to stick with the sport and do both, because my goal is to also go to the Canada Games for biathlon next year.
The multi-sport athlete told CTV News she fell in love with biathlon because of her affinity for skiing and being outside in the winter. And as for the best parts of her newfound sport of luge,
the speed. You go so fast, and it's just like, it's a thrill, it's adrenaline. I love it.
Darbalay says qualifying for the 2030 Winter Olympics in the French Alps may be a long shot, but, quote, we will see about 2034 in Salt Lake City, Utah. Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
Still to come, police make a significant seizure in connection to a Canadian fugitive. Also, a Canadian couple found dead in the Dominican Republic. What officials are saying. You're watching CTV News Live from downtown Saskatoon. Thanks for staying with us. The FBI says millions of dollars worth of motorcycles have been seized by Mexican authorities linked to Canadian alleged drug kingpin Ryan Wedding. CTV's Judy Trin is tracking the latest on the investigation for us.
Dozens of high-powered motorcycles worth an estimated $40 million seized in a joint operation by Mexican authorities, the FBI, the RCMP, and Los Angeles Police. Authorities say the collection belongs to Canadian fugitive Ryan Wedding. Each bike contains valuable clues.
Determining the flow of his supply, the flow of, his income, his drug supplies, his narcotics, of how it's being transported.
Earlier this month, the FBI released a new photo of Wedding. It's believed the former Olympic snowboarder is being hidden by the Sinaloa cartel.
Sinaloa has been undergoing a real attack on their power and their ability to protect Wedding, consequently, is starting to crumble.
Analysts say that after the Trump administration declared drug cartels terrorist organizations, Mexico increased its efforts to ferret out Wedding, prompted by watching the U.S. attack Venezuelan drug boats.
This is something they would not have done before the United States declared that the cartels were terrorist groups, because they didn't have to. But now they feel the threat of the possible attack by the United States,
About 30 associates of Wedding have already been arrested, including Wedding's Toronto lawyer, Deepak Paradkar, accused of counseling suspects to murder an informant. The U.S. wants him extradited. Paradkar was granted bail last week because of health concerns.
Obviously, we've seen in the movies, and it's true, they're going to, take out, execute, kill any individual who could potentially become an FBI informant. If they're under investigation, they're being extradited to the United States, that's a risk to them.
Ryan Wedding has been on the run since 2015. Not only is he considered the biggest cocaine trafficker in Canada, he's also accused of at least 4 murders in Ontario. The FBI is offering $15 million for information that could lead to his arrest and conviction. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
A family from Gatineau, Quebec is looking for answers. A couple was found dead while vacationing in the Dominican Republic. Their relatives say they're still waiting for information and help from Canadian officials. Caitlin Wilson has more.
For Alain Noel and his wife Christine Sauvé, it was a dream home in Villarriva in the Dominican Republic where they planned to retire. It's where they were spending the holidays when they were found dead on Boxing Day.
We're like in a big shock, everybody here, and I don't know. It's hard to go day by day, but we're trying.
Christine's brother, Gilles Sauvé Jr., says the couple was discovered in their bed by their adult son, who had traveled there for Christmas. He says his sister felt unwell the day before she died, lightheaded enough to go to the hospital for blood work.
She was supposed to come back the day after because it was almost everything closed there, but they didn't pass the night, so both of them.
Sauvé is now in the Dominican Republic with the couple's 2 children, waiting for autopsy results that could take up to a month.
There's nothing that is close to being suicide or a murder or a violence or something like that. There's a sickness, there's something there, but we don't know what.
Global Affairs Canada confirms to CTV News it is aware of the deaths of 2 Canadian citizens and says consular assistance is being provided, but no further details are being released due to privacy. Despite that, Sauvé says he has not been able to speak directly with local police or Canadian officials.
That is the big wish, yeah, for sure, to have a little bit more help that's on this side here.
Back home, the family is well known in Gatineau for years of community involvement, including raising money for CHEO through their elaborate Halloween displays and close ties to the Gatineau Olympique, which issued a statement offering its condolences. And as they wait for answers, Sauvé says the focus now is on bringing the couple back to Canada.
They're a good family of 4, very tight family, very nice family. It's everything.
That was Caitlin Wilson reporting. In the Middle East, Israel is suspending more than 24 aid organizations from working in the Gaza Strip as of Thursday. The Israelis say the humanitarian groups failed to meet new vetting rules intended to prevent Hamas from exploiting international aid. The requirements include sharing information about staff, funding, and operations. Some groups have said the rules are arbitrary and could endanger staff. The Associated Press reports a Canadian nonprofit, Oxfam Quebec, is one of the organizations being deregistered. A new search is getting underway for Malaysian Airlines Flight 370, which vanished without a trace more than a decade ago. There were more than 200 passengers on board, including 2 Canadians. What happened to them is one of the greatest aviation mysteries of all time. Now advanced underwater drones are being used to try and get some answers. Here is John Venavelli Rao.
The newest search is taking place far out off the coast of Western Australia, with Ocean Infinity, a British-American deep-sea robotics company, using underwater drones that can dive up to 6 kilometers below the surface in the hopes of finally finding Malaysian Airlines 370.
There's reason to be hopeful. They're using the newest technology. They're at a good time of year, and they know where they have searched previously.
The Boeing 777 jet took off in 2014 on a flight from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. On board more than 200 passengers, including this pair of Canadians. The last thing heard from the plane was sent to air traffic control 38 minutes into the flight.
Good night, Malaysia 370.
Radar showed the jet made a sudden turn to the west, then south over the Indian Ocean, never to be seen again. Though debris washed ashore on a French island and along Africa's east coast. For relatives of the missing, not knowing what happened for the last 11 years has been agonizing. There were theories about pilot suicide, a fire, or hijacking, but nothing's ever been proven. Zhang Hu lives in Beijing. His mother was on the plane. He says finding that jet, his loved one, and the truth are things he must do in his lifetime. Previous searches, including by Ocean Infinity, were all fruitless. But now the company's zeroing in on 15,000 square kilometers of seabed.
They're looking at just 15,000 square kilometers compared to 250,000 square kilometers that they already searched. So they seem to think that they have a good idea that it's here.
Still, it's not clear why the company is searching that area now, with it only getting paid if the wreckage is discovered.
As for the plane's black boxes, even after being underwater for more than a decade, experts say if found, the data on them should be retrievable. John Venevali-Rouse, CTV News, Toronto.
Well, Jeff, the temperature definitely dropping as the day went on.
That's for sure. Now, mid-afternoon was still pretty pleasant, still pretty slushy, but as we get closer to the latter part of the evening into the overnight, temperatures are going to get onto the minus side, significantly so that we are going to see a lot of freezing going on. So as I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, best to take care if you're heading on the highways, highway hotline, as well as just be careful on the roads or sidewalks because things are going to be a little dicey, no question. Let's take a look at our numbers right now. -6 in Saskatoon, -12 in Prince Albert with some snow falling in the area, or at least light snow, -5 in the Battlefords, and as you can see, the winds are into the 20s, so a bit breezy out there, and that's one of the reasons why for some places there's a risk of frostbite tonight. 2 degrees on the plus side, that's Saskatoon's daytime high. It happened earlier in the morning. -11 degrees is typical for this time of year, so obviously warmer than seasonal by a big chunk. 8 degrees, the record warm temperature, though that was set in 1901. The record cold temperature on the 30th of December, -42 in 1992, and the sun went down at 5:03.
Coming up, hitting rewind on movie watching. What's behind a surge in VHS viewers?
We're continuing to look back at the year 2025. Wednesday on Your Morning, we go one-on-one with Saskatchewan's new Lieutenant Governor, Bernadette McIntyre.
All right, let's take a look outside through the live lens of Skycam, and as you can see, a little bit of traffic moving over the traffic bridge, but all in all, not a lot to talk about. You know, last night we were dealing with some of that freezing rain, but right now we are maybe going to be seeing some snow. We'll wait and see. Let's take a look and see what we've got going on our satellite and radar shot here. Well, we do have that, see that pink out there? Well, that has a lot to do with freezing rain. Now, that is right now sort of localized into parts of Alberta, but that same system is making its way through Saskatchewan, and there'll be another system. We'll show you that with our Futurecast later on. Is coming in right after. It's sort of like a couple of rounds of this, but we don't anticipate it being a big-time dump of snow. -6 degrees in Saskatoon, snowing in Prince Albert, -12, -5 in the Battlefords, and you can see all 3 locations with winds in the 20s, so a bit breezy out there. The hot spot today, Cypress Hills Provincial Park, 6 degrees. Stony Rapids, the cold spot at -26. On to the current temperatures, -5 in Lloydminster, 0 in Swift Current, -5 as well in Regina, -2 in Estevan, -8 in Yorkton. Into central parts of the province, temperatures on this part of our map ranging from -2 degrees in Watrous down to -16. That's in Meadow Lake and Waskesiu. It's -13 in Nipawin. And Hudson Bay, not too bad in Kindersley, -7 degrees, -8 in Wynyard. And up north, oh yeah, it's cold in Stony Rapids, -29 right now. It is a lot warmer in La Ronge where it's -18, which generally speaking wouldn't be considered all that warm. Down south, well, anybody on the plus side on this part of our map? The answer is yes, and that happens to be Maple Creek at 5 degrees, 0 in Indian Head. Everyone else on this part of our map on the minus side of the thermometer, -8 right now in Melville. A lot of locations in and around that -2, -3 degree mark. Here we go with our futurecast. This is what I'm talking about. So there is that system sliding through, moving into southern Manitoba, and then that secondary system coming into Saskatchewan late afternoon, early evening. So we might see a little snow in some places when it comes to New Year's Eve celebrations. All right, so for tomorrow in detail, a mix of sky conditions for northern Saskatchewan, -32 for Stony Rapids, then into the -20s for La Ronge, Buffalo Narrows, and Key Lake. Chance of some flurries in Key Lake. Chance of flurries in Meadow Lake, -16, but a better chance of some substantive snow in Spiritwood tomorrow. Cloudy and temperatures around -10 for Kindersley and Rosetown, -7 in Leader, -12 in Outlook, -6 in Swift Current, but 0 degrees for Maple Creek tomorrow. -18 in Yorkton, but 10 degrees warmer in Moose Jaw and Estevan, -11 in Regina, and -20 in Melfort, -16 in Watrous, -18 in Humboldt tomorrow, and -21 for Hudson Bay. For the Battleford's dropping down to -14 tonight, some light snow, and that snow tapers off tomorrow. A high of -13, which is pretty much seasonal. And then New Year's Day, -14, -16 on Friday. Saturday, -15, but -11 on Sunday. And look at that, 1 week from today, -7 degrees. Prince Albert, substantive snow around 5 centimeters, and that tapers off tomorrow, but -18 on New Year's Eve for a daytime high. The same for New Year's Day, and not much change on Friday and Saturday, but starting to warm up. The seasonal values are pretty close to it on Sunday and Monday, and Tuesday, -10 degrees. Saskatoon dropping down to -17 tonight, periods of light snow. Slight chances are even chances, some flurries tomorrow with a high of -14, which is about 3 degrees below seasonal. A cool start to the year, -16 degrees, and staying on the cool side of seasonal on Friday and Saturday, but warming up nicely on Sunday, but it comes with a chance of flurries.
Give me my check. Put some respect on my check. Pay me in equity. Watch me reverse out of dick. But I'm a check.
Forbes magazine says Beyonce is the latest musician to become a billionaire. She and her husband Jay-Z are among the 5 musicians the magazine has declared to be billionaires. The other 3 are Taylor Swift, Bruce Springsteen, and Rihanna. Forbes says most of Beyonce's wealth comes from her music catalog and global tours. Actor Idris Elba has been knighted as part of the United Kingdom's 2026 New Year Honours list. Elba was recognized for his charity work, joining more than 1,000 other award recipients. While not everyone on that list was knighted, King Charles did bestow the honor on actor Gary Oldman and soccer icon David Beckham earlier this year. And France's government says George Clooney and his wife Amal and their twins have been awarded French citizenship. The announcement confirmed an ambition Clooney alluded to earlier this year, where he praised French privacy laws that shield his family and particularly his children from paparazzi. The couple purchased an estate in France in 2021, which Clooney described as their primary residence.
All right, Jeff, time for Pick the Day. What do you have?
We have a triple hit. We're going to start off with this one. We've got ourselves, we've received many sundog photos, folks, and we're going to try and get to a lot of them. But this comes from Eunice. Took this from the end of our driveway in Humboldt, 12 noonish on December 23rd. We can't believe how the sun forms such a perfect diamond shape. Sundays are so cool and amazing. Yes, it is a lovely shot there. Thank you, Eunice. From Allison, a Christmas card to the folks in CFQC and Saskatchewan. Artwork entitled, Are We There Yet? This fun pic is my cat Peanut and I driving home to North Battleford after a snowstorm. LOL. That's a lovely little shot there, a lovely little painting. And finally, from Cindy, sent from our back deck. Cindy adds, I think this little guy is hiding. So you can see the ornament, but just below the ornament, yep, it's a little bunny hiding away there. So thank you, Cindy. And if you'd like to share an image with us, you can do so by sending it to cfqcnews@ctv.ca or scan the QR code and send those pictures in that fashion.
Still to come on CTV News, an old way of watching movies renewed. What has more younger people popping a tape into a VCR? While some people may think of VHS as something left sitting in their basements collecting dust, they are far from obsolete. VHS is making a comeback in Edmonton, and not just among those old enough for it to be nostalgic for. CTV's Connor Hogg has more.
I've had the shop for over 20 years, and VHS was dead for the first, I'd say, 10 or 15 years of my store.
The lobby on White Ave has always sold DVDs and Blu-rays, but lately demand has been growing for an older technology. The return of VHS tapes, as well as a growing community of collectors.
It's fun to show off new tapes that you got and see what other people are collecting.
Cody Cook says even though the quality is lower, tapes make up for it with charm.
Sometimes the tracking will be a little off, so you'll get the lines and maybe the sound warbles and stuff. It's very cool. It's a very unique experience.
Now, before you start searching your basements, not every tape is a guaranteed collector's item. It's usually ones that had smaller print runs or of more unusual genres and are still sealed.
Not all collectors are motivated by nostalgia. 14-year-old Anthony Kimpianu isn't old enough to have watched a tape when they were new.
It's just the charm of them. I just like them so much. I think they're cool.
That hasn't stopped him from collecting more than 400 of them, many of which came from Movie World in Stony Plain.
It's very surprising when we get, 14, 15-year-old kids in here that really shouldn't have any connection with VHS.
Nobody can knock on your door and take your movie away from you like streaming services, and the covers are cool on most of them. I think I'll be getting this one.
Tapes from long-gone distributors like Media, Anchor Bay, and Vestron Video at the top of many collectors' wish lists.
The most expensive tape I've sold was a copy of the original 1978 Halloween, an original media release, mint condition. That was about $250.
The lobby's owner says the growing demand is similar to the appeal of vinyl and cassettes, although many young collectors have yet to experience the hobby's pitfalls.
I love how it's a younger generation doing it, because I think once they start moving around a lot, like from house to house, they'll realize what a pain in the butt it is.
A trip back to the days before streaming. Just don't forget to rewind. Connor Hogg, CTV News, Edmonton.
When we come back, the Vatican returns significant artifacts to Canadian indigenous communities. And later, what has people in Newfoundland and Labrador lined up around the corner?
All right, let's take a look at our rural forecast for the last day of 2025. Okay, as you can see, temperatures are dropping back to seasonal values or colder. Well, look at that. Kindersley, a little warmer than seasonal, -9 degrees. Otherwise, minus teens on the teen titan temperatures on the minus side of things. As places like Spiritwood might get some snow, a little bit more than what we might see in Meadow Lake. As we make our way towards the eastern side of the province, yes, temperatures do drop into the -20s for daytime highs. That includes Melfort and Hudson Bay. 17 on the minus side for Wynyard. Down south, anybody on the plus side? Well, no, but Maple Creek is expected to hit 0 degrees. And then as we make our way eastward, things do cool off significantly. -19 for Kenora, -12 in Carlisle. But look at that along the international border, -6 degrees, and expecting some fog in some of those locations. And Radisson expecting a little bit of snow, not a lot of snow, but a little bit of snow on December 31st. -15 degrees, winds out of the southeast to 20. And Radisson is where internet plans of up to 1 gig are available from SaskTel.
Greetings, everyone. Over 100 years ago, Catholic missionaries sent thousands of indigenous cultural items from across the globe to the Vatican for unique exposition. After years of talks and planning, a total of 62 artifacts have been repatriated back to indigenous communities here in Canada. As CTV's Dylan Dyson reports, the return of the intimate objects bring home memories as well as dignity and power to those where the items were once taken.
A repatriation decades in the making.
You're looking at something that is a part of our history, but also Inuvialuit and Inuit across the Inuit Nunangat still harvest in very similar ways.
This kayak, believed to be between 100 and 125 years old and taken by explorers from Canada's north, was being held by the Vatican.
I know Minister Melanie Joly and Prime Minister Trudeau both intervened directly with Pope Francis and with the highest levels of the Catholic Church specifically on this item. That somehow morphed into a larger conversation that led to 61 other items being identified by the Catholic Church to be repatriated.
An essential piece of Inuit culture and life taken from a community without permission.
One of the explorers came to the region seeing the item, and this may be one of the ways that it was collected.
The items that were taken from us or taken from our grave sites or taken forcibly, those are of concern and consideration to us.
You can see beluga oil stains around the cockpit here.
The return of these items to Canadian soil, a crucial part of reconciliation with Canada's Indigenous peoples. And there's more symbolism with this repatriation. Canada's Minister of Sport, a former Olympic paddler who won gold in the kayak, recognizes his own achievement has been made possible by the innovation of the Inuit.
The repatriation is, it's part of the calls to action. It's part of the agreement that was made with respect to the apology that the Pope undertook, and it's a great day.
But the 62 repatriated artifacts will not be put on display, but rather returned in time to the communities they were taken from.
This is going to be a process that will take months, maybe perhaps years, to fully understand and attribute each of the items where it belongs.
We're ready to be the custodians of the items for as long as needed.
Dylan Dyson, CTV News.
If you have a story you would like to see in this segment, here's how to reach us. You can contact me by email, and you can also watch past episodes and segments of Indigenous Circle on our CTV Regina and CTV Saskatoon websites.
Indigenous Circle, brought to you in part by Saskatchewan Indigenous Enterprise Foundation, growing the First Nation entrepreneurial spirit.
From economic threats to the wildfires that devoured some Saskatchewan communities to a provincial budget that did not meet the Saskatchewan NDP's expectations, there was a lot the opposition leader says she needed to advocate for in 2025. CTV's Cole Davenport sat down with Carla Beck to talk about the year that was.
Joining us now is the leader of the opposition, Carla Beck. Carla, thank you so much for making time for us as we look back at the year that was in 2025 and some of the things that coming up for Saskatchewan in 2026. So first off, what are some things that stand out for you this year, and what do you think are going to be some of the key takeaways? Had a lot of key news events, one of them being a new federal government, and what do you make of that?
Yeah, so it's been quite a year. We've had some time to look back over the year that was, certainly a year that started with threats from the United States to our economy, threats to our sovereignty even, a federal election, as you mentioned, that seemed to turn on a dime. We had a budget that at that time we said wasn't worth the paper it was written on. Turns out that we were accurate about that. And then we saw a wildfire season that really consumed a lot of concern, a lot of energy over the summer, certainly for the thousands and thousands of people who are displaced. We've seen infrastructure announcements made to reduce our dependence on the United States. All of those things I don't think a lot of people saw in the forecast, this time last year. And then all of the other issues that were a concern last year this time: cost of living, healthcare, concerns about education, concerns about community safety. So it has been an eventful year. I foresee that those issues will continue to be there. And, with regard to the federal election, I think we saw a wake-up call for this country and the need to build that trade-enabling infrastructure that we've been hearing from communities, from industry for years that we need to get built. Now's the time to actually see those shovels in the ground.
When you look back at that first year of this re-elected but smaller Saskatchewan Party government, and by extension your larger opposition, what are some of your key takeaways politically from this year, and how are you planning to pull that forward?
Yeah, after the last election where we did double our seats, we came within 1,600 votes of winning. Even on election night, we committed to the people of this province that we weren't going to stop, that we knew that so many people in this province needed change, not only knew where the where the problems were, wanted to be a part of those solutions, that we wouldn't stop working. And I'm very proud of the fact that we haven't. We've continued to meet people where they're at in their communities, but also on the issues that matter most to them. This is a fantastic team that I've actually really enjoyed watching them find their feet and watching them make connections with people right across the province, hold their shadow ministry portfolios with such competence, and bringing forward the voices of people in this province. It has been a real shift in that legislature. When I was first elected, there were only 9 of us on the opposition side. It has just increased the amount of work that we're able to do, the amount of voices and concerns that we're able to bring forward, but also, as I said, start working ahead of the next election on those big, bold changes, that strategy in healthcare, when it comes to wildfires, when it comes to reducing cost of living for people in this province, looking at the infrastructure needed to power the future generally in this province. We've just been able to take on more work and bring more voices forward, so I'm very proud of that. We can put forward a plan that will ensure a brighter future. People don't have to settle for going from first to last in healthcare, from first to last in education. That there is economic opportunity in every corner of this province. If only you had a government that wasn't content to sit in small rooms in Regina and make decisions without consultation. That's what we have on offer as the Saskatchewan NDP, and we're going to continue to show people in this province exactly what our vision is.
Thank you so much for joining us. Is there anything that you'd like to say to people in Saskatchewan just at large as we head into this new year ahead?
Oh, I appreciate the opportunity. I'd simply like to say this. At this time of year, I hope everyone in Saskatchewan, all of your viewers have an opportunity to spend time with your loved ones, to slow down and enjoy the season. I wish each and every one of you a Merry Christmas and a happy 2026. We look forward to seeing you.
Team Canada took on Denmark last night, looking for a 3rd straight win to open the World Junior Hockey Championship.
Aged out. Michael Hayes feeds that down, takes the return pass, slings it across, score!
Canada scored on an early power play and went on to dominate the game. They beat Denmark 9-1 with star forward Gavin McKenna notching a hat trick. The team will be back on the ice tomorrow to play Finland. Turning to local gas prices now, the average price in Saskatoon is currently just over $1.12 a litre. The lowest price in town is $1.069. On Saskatchewan markets, Cameco dropped more than $2 today, and Nutrien finished the day at $85.60. Coming up, the food frenzy that has people forming long lines in one Canadian city. Then getting the ball ready to drop for New Year's Eve.
Select Hair Services brought to you by Sage, the beauty bar.
How long would you wait in line for a taco?
It depends.
A little while? In Newfoundland and Labrador, people are seemingly very patient.
Delicious. Hopefully it tastes as good as they say.
How long did you have to wait?
Half an hour.
Not too bad.
1:30, 1:58 now. Got the food.
Taco Bell opened in Mount Pearl over the weekend, and since then vehicles have been lining up around the block just to get a taste. It is so busy, the city has been forced to put new traffic measures into place to manage the crowds. Customers are being encouraged to carpool if they want to make a run for the border. This is Newfoundland and Labrador's first standalone Taco Bell location, but that happened to us in Saskatoon a few years ago.
People went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs in Saskatoon. Well, they went cuckoo for Taco Bell. And I think some of the people who were first in line in Saskatoon got special T-shirts.
Did they?
Yes.
Was that, you weren't there? No.
I wasn't there. I was here working hard.
Sure
We covered the story, though.
I'm sure, yes, we absolutely did. All right, well, speaking of covering stories, earlier this week we told you about how they practiced their confetti toss. Now crews in New York are getting the ball ready for Times Square. The new design for this year's Waterford Crystal Pieces is circular panels symbolizing infinity. They have to install more than 5,000 discs before midnight tomorrow night, when the glittering ball will drop and signify the start of 2026. So sparkly.
Yes, it is. That is really cool. And I'm guessing, you know, with the technology, they can change those patterns every year.
They can.
It's like a sphere, but smaller. And it's not in Vegas.
Okay, yeah. All of those things. It'll be neat to watch, though.
It would be cool to watch.
If we're awake.
Exactly. Well, I think I'll be awake. Time difference times by 2. No, anyhow, tomorrow morning, things are going to start freezing up a little bit. It'll be freezing up overnight, but the temperature does not change all that much for tomorrow.
All right, that is our show. Thanks so much for watching. We're back at 11:30.